Kia de Chachara, hello my friend. Thank you for coming to read with me today. We're going to be looking at chapter 7 of the Changeling's Call, which is titled Oisin O'Clery. So we have a new character coming in, and this is another short one. It's only about 5 pages, I believe. I'm in my daughter's art studio today. It just seemed like a nice quiet place, so trying out a new spot. Alright, let's get straight into it. Though Orla had wondered if the little man would be able to keep up with her, she needn't have worried. If anything, she struggled to hike through the woods and meadows as quickly as he did. Finn had an interesting way of jumping from one spot to another, as if he was weightless, or like he had springs in his feet. To her surprise, he told her they would be headed to find the Selkies after all. He explained that as a visitor to the Queen's court, she would need to present a gift. And he said that he was friends with a young Selkie who may be willing to help them out. This made Orla a little nervous, because she was fairly certain the Selkie wouldn't be helping them in exchange for a few crumbs of bread. Traveling with Finn was actually quite fun. He told her impressive stories of ways that he had hoodwinked humans, some of which sounded plausible and some of which couldn't possibly be true. He told clever jokes and riddles, and when the sun shone warmly on them, he would sing a spirited song that was nearly like birdsong. Though they soon ran out of the food Orla had brought, Finn was very good at finding mushrooms, edible leaves, nuts hidden by squirrels, and occasionally an edible root. It was a good season to be traveling, because there were plenty of wild rowan berries, blackberries, and underripe apples. These last were ripened by Finn, who sang a funny little song to them, as Orla watched them turn color in awe. At night they set up camp quickly, as they had neither tent nor any real need for a fire. Finn walked in a circle, touching the trees as he went and muttering something foreign sounding under his breath. As soon as he finished, Orla felt incredibly safe and calm. Before Finn had even finished setting out his bedroll, she was sound asleep. Suddenly she heard music playing nearby, something lively and beautiful, with instruments she had never heard, but sounded nearly like a flute. She was enchanted by and drawn toward the sound, but also frightened. The moon was shining and the glen where they had made camp was completely still. She looked around for Finn, but didn't see him. Out of the darkness, a figure advanced. He was a head taller than her, with long black hair and fine, dark purple and black-colored robes. His legs were clad in something skin-tight from the knee down, showing well-formed calves. His face was so beautiful she would have thought him a woman if not for his build. His skin was exquisite and without a single scar or mark. His face had no trace of a beard like a young boy, but he looked to be at least 5 years older than her. His eyes were warm purple, closer to red than blue, and each fine feature of his face was unnaturally symmetrical. His ears came to a point at their outermost edge, but he could still pass for human, if it were not for the large black wings folded behind him, which could be seen extending from a little ways above his shoulder down to his knees. As he approached her, an amused smile brightened his serious-looking face. As Orla struggled to continue to breathe, he reached out and just barely touched her cheek, looking into her eyes. A voice in her head queried, "Will you dance?" Orla felt a strong urge to go with him, toward the music, to dance and do whatever he liked with him. He was indescribably handsome, and she could feel power emanating from him just as one would sense heat or cold. But something held her back, and with great effort she shook her head no and stepped back, out of contact with his hand. The creature's eyes widened with surprise, and he looked greatly disappointed for a moment. Then he smiled, opened his wings so quickly he startled her, and with a sudden rush of air he was gone. Now Orla felt disappointed and wished she had gone with him. It doesn't say it, but that is meant to be a dream. Okay, the following day, Finn did not seem himself. He was nervous and much quieter, and when Orla asked why, he explained that there was someone nearby, and he was listening. Around midday, he visibly relaxed. "There's no avoiding meeting with this one. He'll cross paths with us soon, but I can tell it's just a human, and no threat to us." This was less reassuring to Orla than he may have imagined, because she definitely thought that being human did not mean someone was not a threat based on her experiences. However, the agile little man was very at ease, and this gave her some measure of confidence. She remembered his stories of outsmarting humans, some of which were likely true. Suddenly, she heard footsteps. Finn had chided her until she began to walk very softly through the woods, and Finn himself didn't make a sound when he moved, so it was startling to hear someone making so much careless noise. There before her was a young man who couldn't have been more than a year or two older than her. About 6 feet tall and wiry, he had straight blonde hair to his shoulders, hazel green eyes, a strong nose and jaw, and a short blonde beard. His broad shoulders and long arms were bare, and he was only wearing a cloth vest and trousers, both so dirty it was hard to say if they were meant to be gray or brown. There were a number of cuts and bruises on his forearms and dark circles under his eyes. He made eye contact with Orla. "Oh, good day, miss. My name is Oisin O'Cleary, but everyone calls me Danny. Are you well?" Orla hesitated. Finn seemed to have disappeared. "Good day, I'm Orla O'Connor. I'm all right. How are you?" Oisin smiled. "Better now that I met you. Truth be told, this has not been my best week." Finn appeared, seemingly out of thin air. "All right, that sounds like the start of a long story. I'm afraid we haven't the time, so best of luck to you, lad." Danny's face registered shock and then concern. "No, don't leave me on my own. I'll come with you. I can be useful. I can protect us." Finn raised an eyebrow. "You don't look like someone who has been very well protected." Danny sighed. "Well, I'm a decent fighter in a fair fight, but it's hard to best your opponents when your hands are literally tied. My village was ransacked, my parents killed, and my brother and I were taken as slaves. See, it's a pretty short story, actually." Looking closer at his arms, Orla noticed there were red marks around his wrists. "Let him come with us, Finn. You said yourself that he wasn't a threat, and there's strength in numbers, isn't there?" Finn looked displeased. "If it's a battle party, sure there is, lass, but this is a quest. Do you think we need all of Ireland hearing him stomping around with those big clumsy logs he calls feet?" Orla narrowed her eyes. "That's not fair, Finn. He didn't know there was anyone out here, so I'm sure he wasn't trying to be quiet. I didn't know how to walk quietly either before you taught me." "Say," interjected Danny, "where are you going anyway?" "Well, to the ocean first," explained Orla, "where Finn has a sulky friend who we hope will help us find a gift to give the Queen of Fairies." Danny laughed. "Well, I can't say as I believe such things exist, but if they do, I'd like to see them." Finn groaned. "So are we to try and find the entrance to the other realm while this one crashes around like a pregnant cow and doesn't even believe in what he's looking for? I don't much fancy our chances. Do you have any skills?" "Sure," replied Danny eagerly. "I'm good on a horse, I'm a fair swimmer, and as I said, I can fight." "Come on, Finn, don't give him such a hard time," Orla pleaded, eager to carry on with their trek. "He seems to be a good man. He's offered to help without asking for payment, and he hasn't even tried to get your pot of gold." Finn had to admit that he appreciated it when he didn't have to come up with elaborate hijinks to protect his money, though he claimed he only had a few pieces of silver anyway. After a quick lesson in walking soundlessly, they were on their way. And here is one of the two illustrations in the book, which shows you, of course, Finn and Danny, which is what he's known at from now on in the book. And I know it said that he was blonde, but I don't know why I put that. As you can see here, he's got some pretty dark hair. So yep, there's those two boys. All right, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you next time for Chapter 8. Salam.